My top line recommendations for the week of November 6th is that we get the things done we need to get done at the beginning of the week. There's some really good things to work with at the beginning of the week. I am not personally responsible for what happens once we venture into Thursday and beyond. There are some very rocky, tumultuous, and course-correcting moments, it looks like anyways, from my vantage point, in the later part of the week. So I just want to be clear. There's a lot of support in the beginning of the week, and the end of the week is all bets are off. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm not expecting anything to go as planned.
Hey y'all, if you're looking for an astrological map, compass, and companion for the coming year, check out our 2024 Astro Planner. It's filled with rituals, reflections, exercises, astro cheat sheets, planetary movements, and daily and monthly calendars that allow you to map out your year, track your intention for each day, and make the most of 2024's astrology as it unfolds. You can order yours at chani.com, but warning, it sold out last year, so act fast.
Hello and welcome. This is the Astrology of the Week Ahead podcast. I'm your host, Chani Nicholas, and here we are. We're in a really interesting kind of little section of the year. We're closing the year out. We are looking at how much we can get done from now probably until the end of the year. And we know that people's attention spans are going to start to wane pretty soon. So top of the month, November 6th, we're looking good. We're looking great, actually. We've got a Venus trine Pluto on Monday and a Mercury trine Neptune on Monday. And both of those things are signatures of assistance and actually of flow, of things going well together. And the things that these two represent, Venus is relationships and connection and beauty and art, and Mercury is communication. So it's a great day to establish connection, to have great conversations. The conversations that we have feel inspired, and they seem to be something that looks towards the ultimate manifestation of something, or what the ideal is. So we're having conversations about something ideal, maybe even something poetic. It's a great day for poetry. It's such a good day for poetry and connection and deep pleasures or connections that help us to sink deeply into whatever it is that brings us joy. There's a transformative kind of quality to anything that we do that feels good. So, love Monday. I think it can be really, really full of moments that feel like assistance, or again, moments that feel like this is easy. So, beginning of the week, I want you to be where is it easy? Where are the conversations flowing? Where am I getting the information that I need? Let me go deeper there. Where do I feel connection? Where do I feel joy? Let me focus in there. And then that kind of lasts until Wednesday. Wednesday, we've got a really important planet changing signs. Venus, who has been headlining so much of the astrology since really June. So June, July, August, September, into the first bit of October, Venus was in one sign. It retrograded through July and August and into September. And then it went from doing all that and kind of clearing through the after effects of that into a sign that it did really struggle in, Virgo. So it was still a focus. Then we had 2 eclipses that were ruled by Venus. So huge focus on Venus since June. And Venus has been in a little bit of a challenging position. So drawing focus, Venusian themes have been very highlighted, very, very, very. And now Venus is going into its own sign. So it's strengthened to a large degree, which we haven't had this year yet. We've had Venus in challenging situations, which just brought up all of the aspects of relationship that we needed to work on. Now that Venus is in its own sign, it has power that it hasn't had yet. So I'm hoping that this means connection, pleasure, and beauty feels more accessible. It's also a really lovely blessing for the part of our chart that contains Libra. I talk about that in your personal readings on the Chani app. So really taking note of like where it's been rough, because we've had a lot of challenging things happen in Libra and with Venus. So the part of our chart that is ruled by Venus, that contains Libra and Taurus, has definitely been worked. And so now we get a little bit of a blessing. So now it feels like we're reaping the benefits of the work that we've been doing in relationships, especially. So really contending with what peace, justice, harmony is not, when and where it's actually attainable, when and where it's actually not, and we might have to sit with a little bit of discontent. Now Venus comes in and is like, okay, but let's make it cute, and brings in a airy, flirty, lovely, and really like delightful type of energy. So it feels like the deep work that we did around releasing and rebalancing and reworking our expectations is going to be rewarded, is maybe too optimistic of a word, but I do feel that there's going to be a sweetening in the area of our life also, that we've cleansed or let go of things. And maybe that is something that is like, oh, it makes sense why I had to go through that thing or that scenario or that situation. And now I'm glad that happened, because it's cleared space for some love, for some connection, for some sweetness in my life. There's more to that story, but I like the opening chapter of it, and that's what happens on Wednesday. So I'm just going to prepare for the best. And on the same day, on Wednesday, Mercury makes a sextile to Pluto. So again, there's a deepening here. There's a need for conversations that help us to rethink or transform or just have a more thorough awareness of something. Great for research. Phenomenal day for some research for that Mercury and Pluto situation. Then on Thursday, Mercury moves into a sign that is really great for exploring and never needing to land at the answer. Yes, you guessed it, Sagittarius. Mercury is in its detriment or exile or opposite sign when it's in Sagittarius from what it likes to be in, and where it's powerful and where it's at home. So it's really easy to go on a wild goose chase with Mercury in Sag. And I'm not saying it won't be fun. I'm not saying you won't learn fascinating things. I'm just saying that it won't be the point of what you set out on the journey for in the first place. Those of you with this natal placement, those of you that were born with Mercury in Sag know what I'm talking about. You are a phenomenal conversationalist, and we don't want to expect anything to be overly succinct. Unless you have a Mercury Saturn thing, or there's addendums to that statement, but we love a long tail, a big fish story, however you say that. And Mercury in Sag is really good at it, phenomenal teachers. This signature is so good at exploring knowledge, wisdom, conversations, ideas, and being an incredibly expansive thinker. Again, we might get lost along the way, but that's also kind of part of the journey. All depends on what you want and what you need. My point is that by Friday, Mercury makes a square to Saturn, and it feels like there's a course correction or a hard stop or a reality check that we have to contend with. So our journey gets cut a little short on Friday. It does feel like, oh no, I missed that meeting, or I missed that note on my notepad, and I forgot that I didn't do that thing, and now I've got to do homework over the weekend type of deal, metaphorically or maybe otherwise. And then on Saturday, and this lasts all the way into next week, Mars makes an opposition to Uranus. It's disruptive, it's bold, it's shaky, it's quaky, it's not anything we've predicted. maybe it's a problem. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Like, it looks extreme. I don't look forward to Mars-Uranus oppositions or squares or conjunctions, to be honest. We did have a Mars square Uranus at the end of June of this year, so it might be related to something that happened at the end of June, but neither here nor there, perhaps. This moment might be felt more on the world stage. I would expect from like November 9th, 10th into November 14th, 15th, there's something disruptive happening. Maybe a secret being revealed, maybe something that used to be hidden being like disturbed awake, maybe something that is just really rocky and unexpected occurs around this time in the world, or maybe it's in your personal life. We don't know. It's nothing to fear, of course, but the way I'm looking at this corner of the year is it's a really good time to think about how to do things differently, how to update our systems, and how to make sure that we are taking precautions and being really proactive about the things we need to keep safe and contained, and that we don't want to be taking major unnecessary and dangerous risks at this time. I just wouldn't go skydiving this weekend. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to do it this weekend. I could do it next month. I'm not going to do it. But if you want to do it, great. I wouldn't choose this weekend to do it. And so metaphorically, if you want to extend that to anything else, go for it. And maybe it's a time, though, that really encourages you to take a very necessary risk. And that might be exactly what you need. Maybe this astrology is a marker of something finally, like that last little moment of movement where the domino falls and everything goes. Perhaps that's your thing. And this is a signature for that. I kind of think like I don't want to add to the instability, but I'm down for the shakeup and the wake up and the, internal revolution or, rebellion that happens sometimes when we get kind of startled to consciousness. And that does feel like something that's happening again over the course of this weekend and into next week, where we will have a new moon in Scorpio that is sitting in opposition to Uranus. So this whole story is days long and probably a little bit longer than that even. But it is about a renewal because there's a new moon attached to it when we get to next Monday. So come back here and we'll talk about the new moon in the next episode. But just know that as you're heading into the weekend, if things feel like it's hard to kind of count on them, like you're not sure what's going on and everything seems to be changing last minute, that's the vibe of the astrology. That's what's being reflected to us. So stay nimble, pack light, be able to change your idea of what should happen quickly, and also pay attention to what gets revealed that was maybe withheld from you before, or something that was much more secret and gets kind of shaken awake. Again, I do think there's a lot of breakthroughs tied to this moment, but it's turbulent. There's just some turbulence here. So do what you can to be a steadying, grounded, centered, deep breath-taking force in the situation, because that's what we need when things tend to get a little wobbly.
Thank you all so much for leaving us reviews in the App Store. They mean the world to us. I wanted to leave you with this one. I love the way Chani's insights help me understand not only myself and the way transits affect my chart, but also astrology more broadly. I appreciate all the details about the actual transits and what they mean. It's all been instrumental in my astrological learning journey. Oh, and I'm obsessed with the guided meditations. Truly, nobody does astrology like Chani. That's from Ange V.
That's the read for this week. I hope that you find some time to work with this sweet, good, helpful astrology in the beginning of the week. And I hope that we're all down for whatever this weekend is going to be serving up for us, and be nice to us. Gods, planets, what have you, each other. Let's be nice to each other. And I'll see you back here next week where we'll talk about that new moon and what potentially it could be awakening within us. Thank you so much for joining. Lots of love, many blessings. Bye for now.